Hi everyone. What this video is about is the construction of a Cambrian Salmon Wagon kit. And I'm doing this purely because I've never seen a video of anyone doing one, and it might help other people. And hopefully you find this helpful and not too boring, and enjoy. It's basically me sped up building this wagon section by section, and I have done some narration over the top of it. So there is only me talking and me building it, but I've done them separately. Hopefully you enjoy it. And I hand over to me over the last week, from Monday to Thursday, building the wagon. And I'll see you soon. Okay, here you can see me moving the base from the sprue, and I will be taking off all the flashing, the mould lines, which obviously I've decided to show you the entire process just because I want everyone to see how easy or difficult this build was. It wasn't difficult, but there was bits that I did find challenging. So obviously some people may never built a kit before, so I just figured it was a good idea to show all the way from start to finish. So I'm taking off the buffer beam. So basically the first section on the instructions was to basically build the floor, I think it's called the floor, the sole bars and the buffer beams. So obviously you can see me pointing at certain items as I'm doing them, not realising how much I would have sped these up. There's the actual buffers themselves, because for some reason it says take them off, but they don't get put on until like the second to last instruction out of like 5 instructions, which is a bit mad. So I'm using a knife, well, a craft blade, just because I found that was easier than a file. But you will see later on that I did use a file in the end. I just found it a bit easier to use that, to be honest with you, for certain sections anyway. I think it's when I'm trying to do these bits on the buffers themselves, they're a pain. Okay, now I'm taking off these are the sole bars. So if you're not sure what a sole bar is, which I wasn't until like last year, these are the edges of the wagon. So you'll see in the final pictures and the final bit of the video, these are basically where you'll see the whole thing together, obviously, but these look quite good. They're quite thin, so when you're doing this, you have to be careful to not like nick bits out. You'll see every so often I might have to go back over something and I might take too much off. Yeah, you can see me there, just sort of pushing a bit too much of the flashing off the mold. So I know this is it's a bit long-winded, but it is worth doing. If you don't, the pieces won't fit together properly, and you'll also find that you could they won't look right either. Which there you go. I think that's one of the ones I took a bit too much off as I was trying to take off the mold lines. Okay, these next bits are, I can't remember the name of these actually, but they fit in between these sole bars. They're basically like a stretcher or something, I think they're called. I've forgotten. If you know, put it in the comments below, please, because I've completely forgot. Because once I built the wagon, I threw the instructions away, to be honest with you, because I didn't need them. Yes, these are basically smaller versions of the sole bars, but they have no edges to the actual wagon because these sit underneath the floor of the wagon. Basically, they're there for supporting the prototype wagon in the actual real one. So this is just pretty much more of the same. So I've done this, and then I will actually start building the wagon in a moment. Won't be much longer on this one. Okay, here is me. I've just started the build of the wagon now. This is I'm using liquid cement, also liquid poly, sorry, by Humbrol. when I showed you the wagon, so the two flat pieces at the beginning, that was there are arrows which are lining up to show you which bits go together, but they were so difficult for me to see, so there's no way in hell the camera picked them up. Okay, these are the buffer beams, and those are the buffer shanks I'm putting on now. I'll be honest with you, I'm not happy with the buffer shanks at all. Maybe I cut them a bit wonky or what, but they don't sit straight. It just bugs me. So what I might do is, even though they're already on the wagon, is on the final one I may actually take them off and actually what's it called? Fill them in, like drill them out and put some better buffer shanks on them. Really, this is the chain box, which goes on the side of the wagon. You'll see where I put it in the end eventually when I actually get around to the build. But this is just literally just a box with a front on it. It fits under the base of the wagon, and you'll see where it goes later. Oh, here we go. Saw bars now. See what I mean? These are the edge of the saw bars of the wagon, sorry, which are the saw bars, which I'm holding up with whatever I've got to hand, which is square. I'm building it now, but you will actually see in a minute. I did it wrong. I had to actually take these up, both of them off again, and it was a bit annoying. But basically, I found the buffer beams were not actually fitting properly. Throughout a lot of this video, there might be pauses where the shot might change slightly, but that's because I'm pausing the video while I'm letting it dry. And that's just purely because there's no point you watching it dry. I don't know, it could be boring for you, that's all. So now here I'm trying to put the next one in. I could not get it to stay, so I used a bit of masking tape, made a little tube of it, just nothing sticky, didn't stick it to it, just something to give it a bit of rigidity to hold itself up, which you'll see I use that again later, but as I said, I actually took these sole bars off because they were not right. So what I'm doing with the liquid cement is actually gluing, is basically using a capillary action, running it down the seams, which then flows between the gap. So if the gap's too big, it won't do anything. But this flows between the narrow gap, which then ends up setting the plastic together. What it does is welds the plastic together. It melts the two pieces just slightly. You actually see it on the top, where on the actual top of the wagon, where I accidentally had a little bit on there. It's going to get weathered, so I'm not too bothered about that. Yeah, there we go. That's that done, but not correctly. So obviously I will redo this anyway. In about, there we go. I did drop it there. Yeah, whoops. There you go. See, I'm adding probably a bit too much glue. It's a bit annoying, but here we go. You've seen me now. I'm now redoing it. Because what I'm doing now is gluing the buffer beam on badly because I keep knocking the damn thing. And that's basically because, there we go, I've jumped a little bit there. So I'm now applying putting the buffer beams on with the base and then putting these sole bars on. It may not be the correct way to do it according to the instructions, but it's the way I found worked easier, because it just was not working for me because I couldn't get the actual, because like basically bits where they slot together almost at the ends, and I found I'd had the sole bars too close together and the buffer beams were not fitting. So basically the buffer beams were overhanging way too far and it wasn't an accurate fit basically. So this will jump in a second, because what I'm doing now is just tacking it almost to let it dry. Yeah, see, there we go. Moving it along, because I've noticed I haven't actually fixed the sole bar entirely, because that's what I mean, I've tacked the ends, and that's what I'm doing now. There you go, yeah, see, there we go. I've stuck it to the cutting mat there, which is why I'm a little bit annoyed. But that's how, when I turn it over, you'll see the mould lines, not mould lines, I forgot what it's called now, where the glue has stuck it to there you go, like that. And when I turn it over, you'll see that, yeah, there. See, I'm trying to take it off now with my finger. That's just a bit of glue that's slightly melted the top surface, but as I say, this will get painted up weathered, and you'll never see that. Or even if you do, it'll just look like rust, because that's what I'm intending on doing, is having it as a well-used rusted wagon. Okay, this was a tip I got from someone on Facebook to use an engineer's square to line up the I don't know what, I still cannot for the life of me remember what they're called, but those bits that go in the middle, because the supports that go underneath, they actually need to line up with the rest of the sole bars, and if they don't, it would just look wrong. It would just look completely and utter rubbish, to be honest with you. Sorry about my head there. And hopefully in the end I did manage to get it done right, but I found the first one was easy, but the rest just weren't. I struggled and struggled, and you'll see me struggle with getting these last few bits in. It just wasn't easy at all. The focus might have gone there, sorry. Oh, there we go. It's on autofocus, so it's focusing whenever I move a bit too close to the camera. Yeah, see, there we go. There are little lugs on the base of the wagon, but with them, they are, it might look like the two centre ones are too close together, but they actually are meant to be there, because without them, that's because the instructions show put the two supports on the inside of the lugs, which is what I've done. This is one I'm having trouble with here. You can see me just getting a little bit frustrated with this. Yeah, I'm using more of the not masking tape and folding it over, making a little tube here. It works, it held it up, and I'm also using it as a spacer as well. Yeah, see, I really was at this point getting so annoyed. I struggled to get it to work completely at all. Yeah, you can see me now. Yes, obviously you're watching it 4 times faster, but this took me about 5 minutes. Possibly a bit more, I don't know, but it was a pain because it keeps falling over, keeps knocking it over. I could not get it to stay up properly, and well, until it did, but it was a right pain to get this done. There we go, I've got it in now. Once I can get some of it in, it works quite well. There we go. And there we go, it's in now. So obviously there has been a bit of setting time there, so I've gone off camera, paused it, but you didn't notice I didn't move anything this time. Quite a lot of the times I'll move something but forget the camera's not actually rolling, which is a bit silly of me, but hey, I'm only human. I'm a railway model, but I'm still only human. Yeah, see, it's still giving me trouble now. It's moving as I'm trying to put it in, putting the one next to it in, sorry. But that last one actually went in a lot easier. Don't know why, but I struggled with it with all the others. There we go. And now, so yeah, see, I'm running very low on liquid poly now, which is why I'm having to turn the entire thing over. And I'm using an absolutely knackered brush. Okay, this is the chain box being installed, and oh, jump there. Basically, the chain box goes in where you can see it, and it was the right pain. I had to ask someone on Facebook where it goes, show me some pictures of his, because I could not figure out where they went. Even using prototype pictures, I struggled. See, these are longitudinal, I think it's longitudinal supports which go in. This first one went in easy. It's this second one here. I think it was this one, sorry. No, this one went in okay as well. It's when I flip it over to do the rest, do the other two, I could not for the life of me get them in. They kept moving, they kept twisting. Even with the tweezers, they moved, and I almost threw the damn thing across the floor because I was getting so annoyed at it. And I'm sorry about the lack of camera there, because obviously I can't actually see where the camera's looking. Which is I know it's a bit annoying, but I do remember eventually that I'm filming a bit lower down than normal. Normally I'm handheld and not on tripod. With a tripod, normally I only use that for when I'm filming myself. Yeah, see, what I'm basically doing is like tacking them in rather than trying to get it set completely, because you'll hopefully see that as I move, put it in one end, it moves the other side, one of the struts, that's the word, the struts, one of the struts underneath is just slightly out, which throws the whole support out, which is very annoying. Yeah, again, apologies for no camera there, no view on what I'm doing there. There we go, that's that bit done. So now I'm just trying my best with a file to take off the melted glue, or the melted plastic, sorry. Because I'm about to fit the bolsters on the top, if I put them right now. I cannot remember what I do next, actually. Yeah, I am. There we go. All right, it was the bolsters. They're the fold-down bits on the ends, which the bolsters and these end bits were dead easy to fit. Same as everything else, but with this one, normally I would, with these type of things, I would apply the glue around the edge, but as this is going to be seen on top, I applied the glue to the individual sections and stuck it on. It does exactly the same, it's just it then saves excess glue being on the base. But there are very fine lines which you can see just about at the right sections across the base, which is how I knew where to put them. Okay, this is the building of the bogies now, and these are Allen Gibson wheels with top hat or pinpoint bearings, and these are top hat bearing cups, I believe they're called. This is the I think it's a longer bogie wagon kit, and also it's not the faster speed wagon kit, because you can get a later one which was rated for a higher speed in the end so I think it ended up being rated for 60 miles an hour, I think it is, rather than I don't know what they were rated for earlier, but I cannot remember. Yeah, so what you do is you put a bit of liquid cement in the hole, then put in with a bit of pressure the bearing cup. That basically gives it a good, because obviously it melts the plastic around it, and then when it sets the bearing cup in, which is a very strong bond, and it's really good. You don't actually never need to, if you need to take it out, you're in trouble, to be honest. Okay, now I'm building the actual bogies, which, yeah, the brush is battered. It is really not doing very well at this point. So you glue the bogey side onto that's called the spacer, or the spreader, and that's how that builds that. So there are more parts of it which will come into a moment, but not many. It's actually a very simple build, but you end up with quite a strong thing. But you've got to make sure your bogies, so the axles, are accurate, because if you don't, you could end up with the wagon jumping off on points. The back-to-backs are wrong, basically. So if that happens, it could come off at any section of track, let alone a point, because it just won't be sitting on the rails correctly. Yeah, you can see I got quite annoyed at that point. I took the wheels out, which is quite. And I should have built it with the wheels in, but I just couldn't do it. It was again on my nerves, so I had to stop. Yeah, so this is just the same as the first one, but I'm just not even bothering putting wheels in this one. Yeah, but you can see me using the 2 engineer squares to hold the straight. Okay, jump a little bit there, because I'm now building the bit that fits onto the to the wagon itself. These are basically, you get a screw, push it through the hole. It might seem counterproductive, but basically push it through, fit the bolt on it, take it off a bit, and apply a bit of super glue. I'm using Gorilla Glue. Yeah, it's a very old tub. It's got very little left in it. Take back off the screw and apply it around the edge of the top of the head of the screw where the countersink is. That basically, you screw it back in, and that holds it tight. You leave it for a while, which is I left it for about an hour to let it fully cure. So I'm doing the second one now. Basically, so it's a strong bond. It doesn't come out. Because if you just use plastic weld stuff or poly cement, there's a possibility of it coming apart without wanting it to. Because obviously you could miss it and it could go wrong. Yeah, I'm using a cocktail stick to apply it, so obviously be careful with super glue. Don't glue yourself to things. I've also glued bits of metal to my jeans. Quite annoying. Yeah, here we go. Putting the wheels in now, which fit really well. They're very good wheels. The Allen Gibson, I think these are 10.5mm Lomac wheels, which actually came with the kit. But Cambrian kits don't always come with wheels. You tend to have to buy the kit separately and then buy the wheels. There you go, nice free moving bogey there. So put it through, tighten the nut on top, or underneath, sorry, and the four little pegs, there you go, which twist, there you go into those squares, which is a great little thing. I just literally put a bit of liquid cement in there, or liquid poly, I think I've got there. Put it in, leave it, turn it around, do the other one. It takes seconds to do them. I'll say these are great wheels, and I've got those on my Lima Sea Lion wagon as well, which is what um, I first got Allen Gibson wheels. There we go. This is the brake gear, brake tanks, air tank. This one is because I've got the air. Yeah, sorry, I know I was kind of waiting there for it to set for some reason. I think I was reading in the instructions as well. Um, I will say I did wing it with location of the air tank and the valves and all that stuff. I didn't have a clue. So I just sort of went, put it there. It looked about right based on what I could find on any prototype pictures of salmon wagons. So that's all that really matters. If it looks about right, it is right. Okay, so I did struggle to get it in because it was a bit of a tight fit between the supports. But once it was in, I did struggle more with the air tank itself because I just couldn't get it in at all. Yeah, see, you can see me struggling. Sorry about the poor angle. You get a great look at my arm there. Yeah, okay. Now I am fitting. That is the oh God, I don't know what you call it, like support section for the hand wheel. Um, which are I actually don't know what they're for, to be honest with you. Could be for the chains actually, because a lot of these wagons had winches on them. Some had chains, some had winches. I've decided to just go for chains, which I've got some anyway. Okay, now I'm fitting the bolsters to the actual. Was it bolsters? I think these are bolsters to the actual wagon itself. This is a massive wagon. It is designed for like 60-foot rail section. So the wagon itself is about 60. In reality, it's 62 foot long over the buffers, and it is designed to carry 60-foot lengths of either track sections, so obviously with sleepers on, or rail, like old rail off wagons off the track that's been lifted. So I'm going to model this one either with concrete sleeper if I can get any, because at the current climate there's no way in hell I'm getting any, or I'm going to put old bullhead rail on there. So again, not going to get hold of any bullhead, which is very annoying. All I need is literally a yard of it and I'll be fine, but I can wait. I'm going to paint it up and I can do that another time. See, I've not applied the actual buffer ends, and that's purely because I wasn't happy with them. They don't, yeah, so you can see me now. Oh no, that's the hand wheel, sorry. I did try fitting the buffer ends, but they just didn't go on the way I wanted them to. They looked a bit terrible. So, yeah, I did pause a second there because I had to let the other one go. Couldn't get this one to stay on, so I had to prop it up, and I did lose it at one point, and yeah, you might see that in a second. Oh no, hold on. I think I must have deleted that one. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that. It was a fun build, I will say. Well, fun, different kind of different fun, but fun anyway because I enjoy building things. If you liked it, hit subscribe. I post on Facebook. I also now have a Facebook page for my layout called Oakford Lane Model Railways. So there will be a link underneath for that. So if you enjoy it, if you enjoyed what you saw, post a comment if you want to add anything to it for me, because obviously this is the first time I've ever built one of these, but I have built other Parkside kits before now. So let's see, still learning, always am. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.